not, I didn't specifically find that. I might have said something about, posting the Facebook link to YouTube, or the YouTube link to Facebook.
Right, yeah, and that's what I just did.
Yeah.
But, we can also simultaneously do both of them. There's a way to do that. I haven't figured out how, but
Okay.
anyway,
Got something here.
okay. There's Day.
Oh, there she is.
Hola, saludos, familia.
Saludos a ti también.
There she is.
Feliz domingo por la mañana.
Which other class? No, it's-
En el hemisferio norte, acá en el hemisferio sur son las 6 de la tarde.
Mentira.
Sí.
¿Cuál hemisferio estás?
Estoy en Mozambique, en el hemisferio sur.
No me diga. Es verdad. ¿Tú estás en Mozambique?
Yeah.
You know that? She's in Mozambique.
Oh no. Hi, Day. Ed here.
Hola.
Do you know our Mozambique friends? Recently we had Liz Matos and her husband Helder, who's from a wonderful, she's a musician, he's a musician. Helder, I don't know his last name. He's with a group called
Kina Zore.
Kinazore. Yeah.
Yeah.
His wife is Liz Matos. She's a prison activist. We had a wonderful program with her. Yeah.
Sweet.
This is just
She's on vacation.
awesome. Are you on vacation in Mozambique, or is it a work-related thing, or a delegation? Or?
No, I'm here because my friend's family is from Mozambique, and we've been here for 2 months or so, but working from here too. Since everything or most of our work can happen online, this is the time that we could do it.
Wow.
Yeah, but there's a lockdown here as well. It's just much less numbers than the US.
Yeah. Well, this is great, and we're just waiting for. Oh, here's Eroc. Did we allow Eroc in? Hey, we're ready to start. We got everybody. We have Eroc. We've got sound for you. If you unmute.
Yes, 1, 2.
Okay. All right. So let's start 1 minute late. It's not like punctual is anything very important, but welcome everybody to Community Church of Boston. We are blessed with people from several continents already, and we light a flame for people on all continents, both who join us or who maybe someday will join us. And I want to start with some words from one of our founders, whose name was Clarence Skinner. 1920, 100 years ago, we started this bizarre experiment that is still going, and here's some words from Clarence Skinner. Out of the world's wide ways we come to this, our house of fellowship and aspiration. Here may the evils which beset us be banished by the power of justice, the fears that haunt us be overcome by fresh insight, the doubts that drive us be dissolved into finer faith. Here, each in our own way, yet together let us for a brief time look into the mysteries of life's beginning, the source out of which the endless eons roll and countless lives emerge, and with renewed hope search through this maddening maze of things to find again life's aims and meaning, and above all, its glory. Its glory. It's a glorious morning in Boston, and I'm going to blow this out for now so I don't burn my crotch. And start out with some words. Words of irreverence from my friend Kay Matthew. She says on her Facebook page, my grandson said this afternoon, I wonder how it feels to be the son of God. I told him, probably feel a lot of pressure, having to be perfect in all. I love irreverence. I hope that's what we're all about, irreverence. And the reason I was on Facebook was because I was looking for Eroc's phone number just in case he didn't call on time. And while I was there, I found this little quote, which I'd like to quote to introduce the foundation movement. We're so glad that they're there. This is a morning of old friends and new friends. And as soon as the page is up, we introduce the foundation movement with these words from Eroc. And I want to find out about your social movement fasting, how that went. But here's what he says 22 hours ago. Breathe in and out. Pay attention to your breath. Isn't that amazing? The oxygen you're inhaling is gifting you more time on earth. More time to walk your path and live your purpose. Breathe. What a miracle. We welcome Eroc and Op, the foundation movement. Such a pleasure to have you as longtime friends of Community Church. All the places you've been, all the inspiration you offer us. Inspiration for peace and for breathing and for justice. Take it away, foundation movement.
Hey, bro. Yeah, that sounded fantastic coming from you, Dean. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciated your interpretation on my Facebook status. So Foundation Movement is celebrating 20 years together as a group. And over the last 2 decades, we have been performing at Community Church on and off over the years. So it is pretty wild to be doing it via Zoom. How you doing, Optimus?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. So yeah, excited to be here. I'm also excited because I became an uncle again in less than 2 days ago. So, beautiful times to a beautiful, healthy 8-pound, 12-ounce, niece by the name of Waneka Carle Ade Obira. So I want to welcome her in the world. And it's also, for us in terms of having an opportunity to share our art with all of y'all, excited about that. And I think about what are those things that bring us joy? And even in the midst of multiple pandemics, right? Like from COVID to white supremacy and everything in between and outside of that, we still have an opportunity to find this joy and find these elements of joy. Mm-hmm. And the first piece really is kind of like this idea in terms of, Rock would say, right, more than surviving, but thriving. And so the first piece we'll go into is a piece by the name of Reflection Pool. Here I dug my roots, but I shall proceed. Pain is temporary, though it feels infinite. Wish I could disappear, but I'd still deal with it upon return. Concerns can't express them in song, can't convey the unheard. May seem absurd. You question what's wrong, I respond, shrug shoulders. Release the weight of the world on my back are these boulders, controlling my ability to live in tranquility. Life ain't fitting me, looking for serenity. Glance in the soul of the world, see no enemy. Poised in the midst of the whirlwind, no amenities. Living in the eye of the storm, creating memories. Reflecting on the folks that are gone, grant me clemency. Only beast to do me some harm, it be self-defeat. Forever since the day I was born, it couldn't threaten me. My mama made sure I was strong and made me let it be.
They say fear is the enemy. Well, hate is his nickname. If love is the remedy, then jealousy's a sick game. Only God could judge. Grateful for the blessings. We fight hate with love every day, a lesson. Reflections of light as I fight this depression. We will shine bright, of that there's no question. See, I'm not a zombie. They can't stop me. Even with an army, harm me? Hardly. Because even when I'm gone, I will carry on, find purpose in the pain, live on through my song. I'm not afraid of death. I cherish every breath. I'm grateful I exist. I find bliss. I live for the moment because the next might be it. I don't want to be them. I'm not a replicate. I want to be free, not who they think I should be. I want to be free, and together we could be. Just remember, love is an action and peace is a verb. Don't fall for distractions. Fly with the birds say. Love is an action and peace is a verb. Don't fall for distractions. Fly with the birds. Thank you.
Thank you both. Let's see, am I muted? No. Thank you so much. All right. That is such a tingling, beautiful way to start our morning. We have some little rituals that we've been doing since the Zoom, and somehow with the Zoom, I've sort of taken over being the facilitator. I want to pass this job on to others, and I want to encourage anybody, any other members who are interested in just doing this facilitating. It's pretty easy. It's kind of, folks, welcome. Here we are. This is community church. We're 100 years old, and blah, 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 and read a poem and do this and that and light a candle, and that's all there is to it. So please, anybody want to step up? We have some amazing programs coming up. We have a newsletter coming out next week. If you're not on our mailing list, we will send it to you either through email or through the U.S. Postal Service. Give us an address or an email address. We have 2 months worth of programs all set up, and some films and a memorial service as well. So all kind of things. Anyway, I've been really enjoying reading every Sunday, almost every Sunday, not every Sunday, but from this book. It's a day book. There's a reading for every day. It's called Children of the Days. Eduardo Galeano from Uruguay is the author, and he wrote a lot of this kind of thing, history of the Americas in little vignettes that are 2 or 3 paragraphs long. There's one that's called Memories of Fire, Memoria de Fuego. It's 3 different volumes. I spent 6 months reading that book in 2 languages. It was a beautiful translation. Cedric Balfridge was the translator. He also spoke at Community Church during the 50s when he was blacklisted. Anyway, there's a reading for January 31st, and it's very short. And it says, today we are made of wind, is what it's called. We are made of wind. Today in 1908, Atahualpa Yupanqui was born. In life, they were 3, guitar, horse, and he, or 4, counting the wind. And I wanted to just play you just a tiny little selection of Atahualpa Yupanqui. He's just a phenomenal Argentinian troubadour and teacher and performer, exiled from Argentina during some of the horrible times that happened there. And this song, I'll translate it for you. It's called, on the subject of Kay Matthews' reading from Facebook that I read, it's called Little Questions About God, Preguntitas sobre Dios. One day I asked, Grandpa, where is God? My grandpa got sad and he didn't say a word. My grandpa died in the fields without a prayer nor confession, and the Indians buried him just with reed, flute, and drum. Sometime later I asked, Dad, what do you know about God? Dad, what do you know about God? My dad got serious and he didn't say a word. My father died in the mine without a doctor or protection. The color of the miner's blood has the gold of the master. My brother lives in the countryside and he hasn't seen a flower. My brother lives in the mountains and he hasn't seen a flower. Sweat, malaria, and snakes are the life of a woodcutter. And as no one asks him if he knows where is God, such an important man didn't pass by his house. I sing on the roads, and when I'm in prison, I sing on the roads, and when I'm in prison, I hear the voices of the people who sing better than I. There's a problem on the earth more important than God. It's that no one would spit blood to make the other one live better. So what? Is God watching over the poor? Maybe yes, but maybe not. Maybe yes, but maybe not, but it's sure he eats dinner at the master's table. And let's listen to a little bit of that song, just the beginning, to hear Atahualpa's amazing, beautiful guitar, Atahualpa Yupanqui. Preguntitas sobre Dios.
Un día yo pregunté, abuelo, ¿dónde está Dios? Un día yo pregunté, abuelo, ¿dónde está Dios? Mi abuelo se puso triste y nada me respondió. Mi abuelo murió en los campos, sin rezo ni confesión, y lo enterraron los indios, flauta de caña y tambor, y lo enterraron los indios, flauta de caña y tambor.
Atahualpa Yupanqui. This is such a welcome morning of longtime friends and new friends. And I want to just say that to bring back the foundation movement for another number or two. This is what we call usually the musical message. Take it away.
Word, thank you. Let's see. So first off, I want to welcome everybody, or wish everybody a happy Black History Month. Some people might be like, yo, Black History Month is February. I'll say, you know, Black History Month is 12 months a year. And so I wanted to wish everybody that. The next piece that we're going to get into, this song, actually, oh yeah, this piece is entitled Blue Skies. And really kind of came out this idea of wanting to make a song for the state and the city that we live in, or that I live in and that Eroc lives in. And yeah, and so as you listen, what I would ask you to do is, if there are people that you know, kind of think about who are the people or the events, if you know anything about them, you know, to keep those in mind. And if you don't, it might be, you know, an opportunity to research. All right. From Malcolm X Boulevard to Martin Luther King, I had a dream accomplished by any means. From the place where Farrakhan learned to play the violin, and the textbooks we read were written by Howard Zinn. Study the poetry of Henry David Thoreau, attacking the slave codes, conducting the railroads, rebellions in Walpole. Conditions were awful. The prisoners called for a system unlawful. My state translates to people of the hills. I walk with faith, we striking at the mills. Hakeem Rakib's photographic stills, the scene surreal, something you could feel, and I promise, dedicate my life to be an artist, honest. Spirit of Elma Lewis, we harness. Metacommet lost his life fighting the newcomers, so I'll survive in the words of Donna Summer's lie.
Shout out. Yeah, I love you, bro. I wrote a piece. Y'all gonna get an exclusive. It's never been zoomed before, never zoomed before. The uncut raw. I was in the Catskills maybe about a year and a half ago, pre-pandemic, and I was coming out of a ceremony, medicine ceremony, ayahuasca, and I was outside staring at the stars, just sitting under the stars. I don't even know what time was in the moment, you know, time is funny. So I wrote a piece, so I'm gonna share it with y'all. All right, it's pretty vulnerable, but mostly it's about the idea of accountability, transformation, and you know, we are not, as human beings, I do not believe we're the worst thing we've ever done, nor are we the best thing we've ever done, but rather we are. So you can laugh with me. Can you fly with me? Are you afraid of my tears, or could you cry with me? Do you stash your grief like a thief in the night, or are you willing to try to be free in this life? If there's a hole in your heart, please remember, you don't need to know your hole to surrender, because things fall apart and they come back together. And things fall apart again, and that goes on forever. And though all things end, that's not a contradiction. Trust me, friends, that's a benediction. Because the morning after morning, the sun still rises. The world keeps turning and medicine crystallizes. See, I was first the victim, then I victimized. I experienced trauma and then I traumatized. I strive to change that view in my daughter's eyes by showing her through my actions that her father tries. And I'm not afraid to apologize. And far from hollow lies, I had to learn that my sorrow's wise, that there's wisdom in the tears I cry. They showed me how to change my mind and showed me how to love inside. Took my heart and opened wide and pulled me to the other side. Told me honor Mother Earth and showed me what my karma's worth. Madrecita rewarded me, conspired to make me whole. Medicine for the soul, always return home. They say hurt people hurt people. Well, I did. And I can't change what I did, but I can change how I live. Learn it's an honor to receive and it's a blessing to give. Learn I can swim through the abyss and I can walk through the mist. I had to put down my fists and do the hard work. I mean that real heavy lifting, that in your heart work, that powerful transformation, that pray to the gods work, that keep on growing even when it hurts work. I planted seeds in the garden, so I got my hands dirty. Learned to soften, not harden, and I feel so worthy. Healed the child inside so he could stop harming. I learned that love was so much more than just a Prince Charming. Deeply rooted, stayed low and kept humble. I learned to shine bright, full flow in the jungle. I learned that a sorry is as good as a behavior change. And love can manifest and we can learn to break the chains. See, it's our turn to break the chains. Fam, we got to break the chains. This for those who break the patterns that turn bad terms into lanterns. Become one with our heartbeats. Explore galaxies inside of the star fleets. Reverse tragedies. Imagination. Creating new ways beyond their ways. Internal prisons got us wishing we could free ourselves from ourselves. We think we're living in hell, but self-introspection is a wondrous well. I've seen healing and honor the feeling. I'll see more. There's no ceiling on this healing, and I know what my heart is for. So I soar through exploration, beautiful eye of celebration, no delusion or imitation, confusion or impatience. With an unlimited supply of love, I work to repair the love with those I love. Rituals and circles with my heart wide open. Miracles and circles with my heart wide hoping. Praying the ancestors protect me from this poison. I'd rather fly high than lie frozen. Watching others posing, pretending. I'd rather be heart mending. I'm sending up prayers and preparing for life's lessons. Receive with a smile life's blessings, knowing that I'm worth it. So if I'm feeling blessed, I deserve it. See, I paid with my pain. So this happiness, I earned it. Thank you.
I send you a virtual, tearful hug, Eroc. Beautiful poem inspired by the stars. I heard a line in a song that I think of upon hearing this, and the line says, "Religion, you don't know its primary branches if you ain't been alone with the stars." It's time for a new friend named Deymirie Hernandez. Deymirie, did I say it right? Almost. I want to tell you a little story before we formally introduce you, which is that when my boy was just barely 1.5 years old, just starting to talk, and we would walk outside, and he had not learned the word for moon or luna either. He had his own word for moon, and that word was day. And he said it over and over, and we would say moon, and he would say day. I'll never forget it. And it took him about 2 months before he learned the real word for moon or for luna. So when Ed brought up the idea of having you present for us, that's the first thing that I thought of. And I just thought I'd tell you that story before I brought on Ed Pazanese, who is here with us to give you a formal introduction. I want to thank Ed for a lot of really good work that he's been doing for our program committee, lining up a really wonderful bunch of people that he knows from his years of work in the community with nonprofits, with children, as a social worker. So here's Ed Pazanese, folks. Give it up for Ed, who's going to introduce Day and Agitarte.
Good morning. I'm Ed Pazanese, and I'm a member of the program committee. And it's my pleasure to introduce Deymirie Hernandez, who I first met 2 years ago. I direct a family arts center that integrates children with disabilities, where Day came and designed and taught brilliantly a puppetry workshop for families. She had the natural ability to engage all families to create expressive artwork and tell their own stories creatively. So it's my pleasure to welcome Deymirie Hernandez. She is an architect, graduate, Masters of Architecture at the University of Puerto Rico. She's a puppeteer, teacher, activist, and she was the art director and curator of a fabulous book called If You Fight, wait a minute. Oh, I think it's right. If You Fight, You Win. I highly recommend this book on social and political movements. It's a great book. They sell it at Paper Cuts bookstore in Jamaica Plain and probably many other bookstores. So it's my pleasure to welcome Deymirie Hernandez to share cultural work for liberation. Thank you.
Gracias, Ed. So good to see you. I intend to share my screen, but before I just want to respond to that Luna Day, because honestly, I thank you for the story. And yesterday I happened to be just looking out far, and I saw a gorgeous moonrise, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen a moonrise. I was like, have I seen a moonrise? And I was like, I'm not sure if I've seen a moonrise, but I just saw a moonrise, and it was incredible. So thank you for bringing that up.
You are now co-host and you can share.
Okay, sweet. Let me go here to my screen. And let me see how we do this. Share sound. Let's see how this works. Can you see my screen? Okay, let me see how I'm gonna do this with all these tabs on. Can you see the whole, I don't know what you were seeing right now. Are you seeing the whole screen or just the whole, can I zoom it?
We can see it. We can see When We Fight, We Win, and we can see Agitarte in a graffiti-like design. Okay, sounds good. So I don't know if Jorge will be joining at some point, but quickly, I just wanted to say that this project has been alive and shifting and morphing for over 20-something years. It got started in the 97 in Lynn, Massachusetts, and that part of the history, I'm not gonna go over there. And it was hard to put up a presentation of trying to speak a little bit about our work when our work is mostly through action, right? Whether it's performance, whether it's street theater, publication, this and that, mutual aid projects or what's not. So I hope that what I'm trying to do today includes a little bit of that. Let me see how I can move. Okay, hold on for a second, because I think I don't want this to move on its own. That's the thing. Okay. This is gonna be kind of challenging, so let's see, because I cannot see my notes now. But our project, Agitarte, it's an organization of cultural workers and cultural organizers, working class artists, and we build and create
practices of solidarity, and we've been trying to also kind of construct the language about what we mean with cultural solidarity and what we mean when we say that our project is a practice of cultural solidarity. We do that through different ways, and some of the ways that I'm listed here would be through movement building, art builds and training, cultural organizing and community hub, and mutual aid projects. Let's see. Okay, so I'm including this one because a lot of you are familiar with City Life Vida Urbana in Boston. And that's actually the reason why I came to Boston for the first time in 2010. I came invited as an artist in residence with Agitarte to develop some of the sign work with the members. So all the messaging and all the art was created with the members back then, and still you'll see a lot of these signs here and there in some of the protests. This is another, with City Life Vida Urbana, participating in the Hunk Festival. And we've been doing movement building work with different organizations. This is back home. This is with the teachers movement. And we've been like active for many, many years. With el grupo Se Acabaron las Promesas as well. You probably have seen, like in the last recent years, you've seen the resistance flag, and there's been like different stories of how that our flag became that resistance flag. But this is Se Acabaron las Promesas, a group back in Puerto Rico, and we developed same thing, like skill building and art builds. This is with inland immigration group in Adelanto, California, building as well. These are all different pieces that we create with the community. This piece has been really controversial, but I'm bringing it here today because when we say and when we talk about mutual aid and solidarity, right after Hurricane Maria, the islands in the Caribbean as well, it was clear that basically the only way to survive and to get the things, the aid that we needed was through cultural solidarity and mutual aid. So some of the things that now the US perhaps have been seeing more in terms of mutual aid groups and developing after COVID-19, some of the lessons we already had to work around them right after Hurricane Maria. These are part of the platform that we were able to create with the help of the diaspora and locally. So there were a lot of mutual aid centers getting, ¿cómo se dice? Se estaban construyendo estos centros en Puerto Rico, and we were helping out to build up a network. So it was easier for people in the diaspora as well to identify where to send support directly to those organizations that were being created. And this is a piece that really speaks to not only feeding that belly, because really besides food and power and water and all the most basic things that were lacking and the thousands of people who died, we were apostando, we were like really apostando a mutual aid and solidarity as a way to see a new world, the world that we want to live in. So we have a community hub back in Santurce in Puerto Rico, where we're able to lend to different activities. So where is theater to conferences to other people's art builds. That has allowed us to continue creating more networks locally. We also, another piece of our project, it's the popular education piece and agitation. So that art piece that you saw, it's also part of the agitation as well. So
Did we freeze? Let's see if we get Day back. I hope folks can hear. There's,
It froze for me too.
did we lose Day's? Day is joining us, by the way. I hope folks can hear me. Joining us from Mozambique, which I didn't realize until this morning. Day, did we lose you? Charlie, any help you can offer, or did we just lose her
No,
connection?
no, I'm pretty sure it's her end that lost the connection. You don't have a phone number to call her, do you?
I do.
Is there anything you can put up for?
I just texted you. I'll have her try again to sign in.
Can we get another song while we're waiting?
Sure, there's a lot of things we could do. We could become televangelists and beg for money. That's what we could do. But that's no fun. More fun would be to say hi to everybody. Of course, we have Op and Eroc and Charlie. We have Kevin Devine and David Rothhauser. David Rothhauser, how are you? And Jim from New Hampshire is joining us, and Barry Warner from Cambridge. Hello, everybody. Day is coming in again. I think that Day might be, we need to ask her to unmute.
Yes.
There she is.
Yes.
You're
Thank
back.
you. I'm sorry. This internet kicks me out every once in a bit. Okay, let me see this.
Here we go.
Okay, let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, and I'm gonna jump a couple slides just because of the sake of time, but it is to present that our project it's broader than what I mean. What is this? Who can share? I don't know what this is. Okay, I don't know what I'm seeing here, but we ran an actual candidate for governor in 2008 in Puerto Rico. We got a lot of coverage. The candidate name was No One, so ninguno was a play on words, ninguno pa gobernador, but it was an actual full campaign, completely full, and we managed through our networks to ¿cómo se dice colarse? To actually be in some of the spots where the political candidates and the partidos and the official partidos were meeting. We were there as well, and we got coverage from the media.
Nobody for governor.
Correct. Okay, so this is another thing that usually people recognize our work. It's a lot of sign making, hand making. So the messaging and everything, it's gathered from the communities that we're working with, or in cases like the campaign of Ninguno, we developed that type of work with our networks of collaborators. This is the book that Ed was referring to, and it's we're co-authors with Greg Joby Meads, who's been a funder and supporter of our project for long time, and he's a funder also of SHOT Public Education, a foundation in Boston. And we developed this book called When We Fight, We Win. And this is another type of work that we do, playing with the social media, in the sense like acknowledging that social media, there's a lot of organizing happening. So this is directly a campaign that we ran for education, in the defense of public education in Puerto Rico and also in the diaspora. So there's some teachers from the diaspora here as well. Another aspect of our work is the development of cultural workers and artists, such as myself. So Skillshare and collaborations is part of our work. When we build, we usually pair up folks that are that might know a set of skill, very particular set of skills, with other people that are interested in developing those skills. So we try to do that very intentionally when we create collaborations and put projects together. That has a whole other different set of challenges, but we really commit to investing in our own artists to keep developing through the work that we do. This is El Estudiante Militante, and that's with the student movement in Puerto Rico. This is to create a cantastoria. This is moments where there was no power. So this was actually projected with a planta in Puerto Rico to start telling stories about what was going on. Because actually when Hurricane Maria happened, there were so many weeks and months of people with no power, no communication whatsoever, that a part of the work that we did was travel from town to town, telling stories about what was happening, what was going on, and ultimately also lifting up stories of resistance, of people's resistance, through music, through visual art and what's not. With the platform When We Fight, We Win, with the book, we were able to keep committing to doing more cultural projects with other artists. This is a quilt that I don't know if you've seen perform, but I think it's one of the pieces that we perform the most. It's a really big quilt that speaks about the prison industrial complex history and how connected it is with other movements as well. And the piece is called If All Lives Matter, because we're all created equal, why are some lives more equal than others? This is in Chicago. We developed this with other folks as well, and an organization, a Puerto Rican organization in Chicago, when Oscar Lopez was finally liberated. So this is about Oscar Lopez, but also a conversation around the other political prisoners that are still behind bars. And it's based out on a story that Oscar writes to his daughter when he was in prison, saying that if there was something that he wanted to see, was actually also the ocean. And when we ask him, like, what do you want us to lift up in part of this story, he said the other political prisoners that are still behind bars. This is another collaboration with other artists in New York, and this is a piece that hopefully one day we'll be able to share with you. It's a scroll piece, and the way you see it in this picture is that it goes around in a circle, and we all sing, and we all, it's a picture storytelling, but it's 170 feet by 3 inches, so it was all hand painted. It's incredible history about the US imperialism and colonialism in Puerto Rico. And we all participate in the act of not only moving this piece, but also singing and witnessing the story. It's a really powerful tool, I would say, for organizing, and yeah, hopefully when we're able to get together again, we'll be able to share it with you. This is what I wanted to share a little bit more with you. What have we been up to since COVID-19, and we're not able to do that much work in the streets, although we've been doing work in the street as well. It's our media project, and I'm going to share with you some Datos y Dibujos art pieces, and a little bit about When We Fight, We Win, the podcast. So these are pieces right after COVID-19 hit. So there's some artwork. This is by the same artist. He's part of a collective. One is calling out for a public universal sistema de salud, public health system that it's universal, and the other one about the urgency of it, and then the other one it's an actual response about visitors and all kinds of tourists that were coming to the islands with us having such a limited structure and resources to handle a pandemia in our islands, we were still, because we do not control our borders, by the way, borders were never closed. The US is the one that controls our borders. People were still coming from the US and not even wearing a mask. These are other issues that have arisen both in the US and Puerto Rico. These are responding. So the banks have houses without people, but the people have people without, el pueblo have houses without, sin casas. Sorry, how do you traduce that? Yeah. So the banks basically have been taking the foreclosure, all that we're living in the U.S. as well, the housing crisis, and many houses are empty. And this is another one, because to clean and to give maintenance in the island, particularly around the hurricane season, it's a huge issue. These are also responses about what has been happening in the U.S. And these are other artists from the collective as well. Same thing, like gender-based violence cases have been rising all over the world, and home it's not an exception. So responding to Black Trans Lives Matter during this moment, responding as well to having conversations around defunding the police and abolishing the police and ICE. And stating that basically the police exist to protect private property. This is our first season of the podcast. We were working as well with a podcast, and we're now in the second season. I wanted to share these two pieces, but we have the first season, it's out, and we're running the second season now. For the second season of the podcast, this is also, I'm sorry, before I jump to the second season, that's what I want to share the last videos with you. This is a response that we did during the time that March till June, I would say. We were combining the podcast stories with as well using, all of us were in Zoom, right? Now we're all tired about Zoom, but back then it was a moment where it was the way to connect, and we were just responding to the moment as well and trying to use the medium that was being used to have conversations, to feel like we were in a room with someone and what's not. So these are also like the first one we did it with our own people, because we felt like we had so much to share as well from what we leave from the experience with Hurricane Maria, that we wanted to share that, but also collect the stories of what was going on.
5 unique people.
And lastly,
for some people, and even for the state, the police means the institution to go to look for protection. But we as feminists and women who deal every day with survivors of gender-based violence, we know that that idea is just an illusion. Police themselves are often the perpetrators of domestic and sexual violence, and that they are not a source of help, particularly for women of color who experience much greater rates of violence, including sexual violence and re-victimization once they ask for help to the state. So I think that the police and the carceral system must be abolished.
All right. Day, are you there?
I'm here. I see you now. Yes, I'm here. Yeah, I was trying to run over that, but I would like to invite you to check out and subscribe and follow our podcast as well, because also the role of philanthropy, we've been looking at it. So not only with the podcast, we're exploring another medium for popular education, to tell the stories not only in Puerto Rico, but also stories that are usually actually not covered in mainstream media.
And where do we find the podcast, Day?
So the podcast is streaming in all podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. Yeah, all the podcast platforms.
Is it called Agitarte?
It's called When We Fight, We Win.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a project of Agitarte, and I can share also the link so you can share it with the membership as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Day.
Thank you.
And Day did not say a word about that she's joining us from Mozambique. And maybe in the Q&A, we'll be able to talk about that a little bit. And that's just a lucky, beautiful thing that you are in a different continent. This is from a neighboring country, Uganda. We have a basket that usually goes around the community, and people put green pieces of paper in there and also checks. We can't do that right now. I'm going to put my own check in there, but that's about it. But we do have in the chat our address. You can send us a check by mail. We also have our website. We depend on your help to keep these programs going. We do programs fall, winter, and spring, and into the summer, and it's a different thing every Sunday. So if you want to help us do that, go ahead to our website or send us a check. And enough of my televangelism about community church. I will bring back the foundation movement for one last song.
Word. That was a beautiful day. I was in Mozambique 19 years ago. 20 years ago, 2001, 20 years ago. It was wonderful, beautiful. What you want to do? How you want to end?
So, I mean, going right along, when we fight, we win. You know what I mean? And like the concept and the idea of being long shot. You know? So, yeah.
You want to practice a little back and forth?
Yeah, we could do that.
Cool. You want me to start it?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. This is for the long shot, never supposed to be on top.
The long shot, so they plot to brutalize us.
Now we the long shot, gotta stop, the system's corrupt. Yeah. We've been silent for too long, and now we making a fuss.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
This is for the long shot, never supposed to be on top.
The long shot, so they plot to brutalize us.
The long shot, gotta stop a system corrupt.
We've been silent for too long, and now we making a fuss.
With a deck stacked against me, born black, family of immigrants and great-great-grands who ain't own land. So I became a man, able to stand on my own too. Contributing factors, mother's love and the father's rules. Surrounded by aunts and uncles who adore you. Tell you the sky's the limit, even that could be surpassed too. Glimpse into my eyes, generation past due. Living off my ancestors' lives with deep planted roots. In dark rooms, no return is where they held you. But I developed picture perfect, watch us living proof. Through the pain, through the chains, through all the abuse. We survive and we thrive, nah, crew, long shot.
Never supposed to be on top. Long shot, so they plot to brutalize us.
Long shot, gotta stop a system corrupt. We've been
silent for too long.
Now we're making a fuss.
Our perception's been tainted by deceptions they painted. Misconceptions and hatred. We forgot we were sacred. See, our perception's been tainted by deceptions they painted. Misconceptions and hatred. We forgot we were sacred. Put our people in prison for making bad decisions, and they get smacked on the wrist for murdering our children. And then we hurt ourselves, my people. We got work to do. Take control of our health, believe we got a purpose too. We get lost in the maze, see our brothers as foes, chasing carrots they made. We call our sisters hoes. We got a choice to make, play a role or choose to grow. United, yes, we can. Divided, it's a funeral. I said, we got a choice to make, play a role or choose to grow. United, yes, we can. Divided, it's more funerals. This for the long shot.
Never supposed to be on top.
The long shot.
So they plot to brutalize us. Now we the
long shot. Gotta stop, the system's corrupt.
We've been silent for too long and now we're making a fuss. I struggle to sleep, 60 plus hours on my feet. Just getting my education ain't making these ends meet. I work a couple gigs to enjoy the tendency of having food on my table and shoes on my feet. Walking this treacherous road where there's a path lead. Achievement of my goals, seen success in my reach, embracing my woes. Temperature low, in degrees, taking its toll. Blistering cold on them streets. No vehicle to drive, just my drive and a dream. My focus, intuition, my conviction, my beliefs. My vision, my religion, and a sack of groceries. Cause my hunger pangs today for something to eat. Wobbly on my legs, can't fall, schedule to keep. Boss don't understand when I'm needing to sleep. Courses to the plant if I'm needing relief. So I swallow my pride and ride through the routine.
It's for the long shots. Never supposed to be on top.
The long shot, so they plot to brutalize us.
Now we the long shots. Gotta stop the system's corrupt.
Gotta stop the system corrupt. We the long shots, long shots.
It's for the have-nots who have not and never give up.
For the have-nots who have not and never give up.
It's for the have-nots who have not and never give up.
We won't ever give up. We can never give up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yo, we're doing good at practicing the Zoom thing.
Oh yeah.
It's I don't think I'll ever get used to it. Thank you for having us, Community Church. Thank you, Day, so much. I love the work that you all do.
The moment you get used to it is the moment we won't have to use it anymore. But you know, the truth is that it's there's the fun part of it, which is that we can be in Mozambique.
Yeah, I just made a grilled cheese.
And we can be in our pajamas, and we can tune in from all over the place. That's a beautiful thing. You've got to admit it. Oh, that looks good. Can I have a bite? You can 3D print it over to me, and yeah. There you go. I'll have some. Oh, who's that? Oh, wow.
Hi.
Hi. What's your name?
Sawazi.
Luazi.
Sawazi.
Hi, Sawazi. Eroc loves you.
Tawazi. All right. What fun to have you, Tawazi, and all the rest of you. Tawazi, you got on, and suddenly the average age went down about 50 years. I hope we get more kids to join us and have fun with us on Zoom.
I perform with my dad most of the time.
Do you really? Hey, can we get a number from you, the two of you?
They're trying to make me obsolete.
Never that. Oh, do you want to perform something for him? Okay. All right. They tell me. He can't hear you. They tell me.
Get over myself.
I'm like.
Nah, feeling myself.
Skin the complexion of
Cinnamon.
Melanin. In love with my.
Discipline.
I have it set
Up.
When I put my.
On to it.
Accomplish.
Go. Now it goes as I roll and trudge through them.
Follow my.
Dreams
And make them come.
True.
When I step in the room.
Africa's in the room.
And I'm so dang cool in my.
Silence too.
Matching outfits with our.
High hair too.
Huh. So. Lips so kissable. I'm so. You hate inadmissible. My wifey, brilliant individual. My family makes space for the spiritual. Clearing has negativity fell. I learned a lesson about
loving myself. Yeah, so Wazi. Yay.
How old are you, Sawazi?
7.
7. Wow.
Some people think I'm 9.
Yeah.
because of how tall I am.
Yeah. All right.
Me too. I get that a lot.
Thanks for that song, that poem. That was beautiful. That's really beautiful. Okay, so Day, all of those incredible images that we saw, it makes us want to have a gallery show for Agitarte in Community Church. I don't know if you've ever been in our auditorium. It's been pretty lonely lately, but it's a big, beautiful space with a lot of walls, and we would sometime when the coast is clear, love to do a gallery display and have a wine and cheese reception and show off your incredible art for the people. It's just a lovely thing. Another thing that would be really cool to do is that we have Boylston Street has about 10,000 pedestrians go by every day, and we have sandwich boards, and it'd be beautiful to find some of those radical images to display as a celebration of what Agitarte does, and of how much we're in solidarity with some of the messages, both in English and in Spanish. So if we could get some big, well, all we'd need is a JPEG, and we would print it in big size in a waterproof fabric, so it wouldn't get hit by the rain. And there you go. We could have some beautiful images. With that, let's
just want to add to that, Dean, that actually I don't even need to send the JPEG, because we have we are copy left, and most of our artwork is on our website downloadable. If there's one specifically that you want that you don't find, then we can talk. But yeah, thank you so much.
Crystal Rollins Jackson is our art director and our office manager, and I will tell her about this, and we will look at the website and maybe find some beautiful images to display to lots of people walking by. So let's open the floor and see if there's anybody else who would like to say hello to the congregation, or say hello today, or any questions or observations.
Hello, can you hear me?
That's David Rothhauser. We sure do hear you. Go ahead, David.
Okay, what I want to say as an audience member, an artist, a director, a writer, a filmmaker, in watching your performances and in your speech and or your artwork, I am moved, as I have been moved 50 years ago when I first became interested in, number one, Emiliano Zapata, and I learned as much as I could about this man. And one thing that I'll never forget is that he told his army the army of his people, he said, every time we go into a town in Mexico, he said, and we overcome the federales in Mexico, he said, I want all of you who are fighting with me never to harm the women and children. Never. It was a message that stuck in my mind a long time. And then I became involved and very interested in the Sacco Vanzetti case here in Boston. And eventually, through the community church and with other people, I was able to produce a film, The Diary of Sacco and Vanzetti. Now, and I will not talk much longer, just briefly, I became embroiled in the 2020 presidential election. This thing drove me crazy, of watching the impeachment, number one, of Trump, the crazy people who are talking all the time, they say nothing. And I became also observant of the Democratic candidates for president who were debating each other, and they were acting like children in a schoolyard, yelling at each other, and not talking but not communicating. And so I was moved and inspired by them, and also by the performance, which was also very political, of Jennifer Lopez and Shakira at the 54th Super Bowl. This was an amazing performance, where she included Puerto Rico. And that was really impressive. And her daughter and all the children is amazing. So I quickly wrote a play. I've never written a play as quickly as this. I did it in 2 months. It is called Pole Dancing for Jesus. And it's all about the presidential election and how Jennifer Lopez manipulated the people in the play to a positive result in the presidential election. I won't go into the whole play. But anyway, the last thing I would like to say is I would love to share what I have with you if you are interested. The play is available. It's very exciting. It's of the moment. It is happening now. And as we know, just simply by watching television, we know that the whole world is crazy and turned upside down. And that's what the play is about. It's a hip hop musical. That's all I have to say. And love you. And thank you so much for what you bring to me and to the world that we live in.
All right, David. Just to say that we did a reading of Pole Dancing for Jesus at Community Church Zoom platform. It was a lot of fun, despite the technical glitches, and we've also sponsored and featured David's other work on Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and unfortunately, we lost a mutual friend of David and mine. His name was Bob Datilio, who was the probably foremost authority on Sacco and Vanzetti. Passed away just early last month, and we will be celebrating his life on March 7th. There will be information about that in our upcoming newsletter, so keep in touch, and we will tell you more about that and about other things going on at the church. We will, in March, also be celebrating, commemorating the anniversary of the death of Rachel Corrie in Gaza, Palestine, with a film that is called Gaza Fights for Freedom. Abby Martin, the remarkable journalist. We will be showing that film. We have all kinds of wonderful programs coming up. Palestinian named Nidal Al-Azraq next week. He's a water activist and agriculture activist. We have, I don't have, where did I had the newsletter up here to show off to you. Now I can't find it, but Maria Cristina Blanco talking about housing. She used to work at Vida Urbana City Life. And we have also Margaret Kimberly from Black Agenda Report will be speaking on our February W.E.B. Du Bois address, which some of you know that Du Bois spoke here many times at Community Church during the 30s, 40s, all the way into the late 50s. His last address before he moved to Ghana was at the Community Church. So let me scroll the names here and see if there's anybody else who wants to say hello.
Hello.
Somebody.
Hi. Dean, this is Alan.
Alan.
Hi.
You're on the phone, and I'm going to make your little phone icon real big so we know that you're there. No, it doesn't let us know that. But Alan, say hello to us and say hello to Day and the Foundation Movement from Maine.
Yes, good morning.
Alan joins us.
So Day, I just want to say thank you so much for coming. And I'm on phone, so I'll have to watch the video later. I did a lot of really powerful graphics those perhaps. But I want to say two things. One is I hope going forward, keep us in mind. You could create something just for us, but I do hope you come back and welcome you back, and the musicians as well. Excuse me. But I'd like to say, Day, also, can you tell some stories, or some just anecdotes or something like that of the strengths of some of your experiences, perhaps? And then I'll listen online.
Day,
I'm not sure if I got the question.
just stories about your experiences in art and activism. Maybe stories from Mozambique.
Many stories, but the moment when the system, when the internet kicked me out, I had an image that was on the screen that was a performance. There was some people wearing a big head mask, and you saw in the background people in the beach. But I wanted to share that story because it was the day that I would say that I not only understood but felt the power of the work of this agitation work and performance work and what's not. We were at the beach, and July 4th is a day that typically we're colony of the U.S. and July 4th is it's a day off, and most of people don't celebrate the way they celebrate in the U.S. But we go to the beach, or people go to the beach, and there was a camp in that particular beach doing popular education around an investor that was trying to privatize a portion of the beach with some new condos and what's not. And there was a local organization that was doing popular education to the neighborhood to let them know what was going on and how they can oppose that construction work before they had the whole building there. Because in Puerto Rico, the beaches are still public, but they're public because of public pressure and struggle. And usually privatizers, what they do is they privatize the access, but technically the beaches are public. So we were there and we were doing a performance, and the performance was very simple, where we were like one of the masked folks was wearing a bank. He was representing the bank. Somebody else was representing the government, and another one was representing the investor. And the way they were playing with each other made it very clear for the people that were witnessing the performance that how this political play out. And somebody identified that the investor was on site and started calling out like, and that person is there, and everybody started running towards the construction site and started pushing the fence, like literally pushing, and he got like so scared. But it was just like how powerful it was, that just a simple act and people understanding what it was and what the construction was actually going to take from them. They were able quickly to understand and act upon that. And that's just a story that I hold very close to my heart.
Good. Yeah.
Kevin.
It's Kevin Devine. Yeah, Dey Hernandez, I would like to, hello, how are you, by the way? I would just like to say, I was just wondering why you went to Mozambique when you could have gone to South America or something closer to where you originate from Puerto Rico or from Boston. Yeah. I was just wondering what made you go to Mozambique? That's it.
I see. Okay. For this time around, I came on a personal, I'm here for a personal reason in Mozambique, definitely because of who I am, the work that I do, and the interests of what I'm committed to life. I'm certainly trying to do the connections to see what in the future could be some certain collaborations with the people of Mozambique and people who are radical organizers in here as well. But I came out of to be in family with my friend who's from Mozambique.
I see. Yeah, one thing I do remember, I used to work with people who are from Cape Verde, which is West Africa, and they were also they were involved in this is like before 1974. They were engaged in a struggle, this fight against, well, unfortunately, they were part of Cape Verde was part of Portugal, and they were told to go fight to join the Portuguese army in West Africa and fight against the guerrillas of the PAIGC led by Hamilcar Cabral in Cape Verde or in Guinea-Bissau, and they just told me stories about what went on during that time in the war. This war, this is before the coup that happened in 1974. But they said it was more dangerous fighting this against it was more fearful trying to struggle and live in Guinea-Bissau than fighting against the guerrillas. They were facing wild animals and elephants, and you can't imagine what existed there at that time. But they told me about this stuff. These guys told me that because they were from Cape Verde, but they were in the Portuguese army at that time. And then Mozambique is another struggle. There was another struggle there against Portugal because it was a Portuguese colony. And then I happened to go. Was it 2019? No, it was 2019. I ended up going to Portugal, to Lisbon, and I was on a tour there, and the guy he talked about the rebellion that led the coup, the overthrow of the dictator Marcelo Caetano, who was anyway. But anyway, I understand what you're saying, and you know where I'm coming from, where my experiences have been, and I just want to thank you for going down there and getting involved in the struggle, to help the people there. I think it's good. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
When will you be back in Boston, Day?
The week of I think it's the second week of February.
Okay.
And I'm writing here because there's been, at least in social media, a campaign, Todos con Cabo Delgado. So if you were looking for
Todos con
Cabo Delgado, there's a current civil war happening in Cabo Delgado, Mozambique, in the north. But I'm not in the north. I'm in the south.
I remember we had there was a huge flood. Was it like 2 years ago? And we did a benefit at the church with the group Kinazore. It was very, very nice event. It was co-sponsored by the local UNICEF office here in Boston. It was a Kinazore, Helder, I forget his last name, a beautiful musician, went to Berkeley. If there's no one else want to chime in, it's so good to see all these faces. Beatrice Green, Christine, Kathy Brown.
Gracias para su trabajo en todo el mundo. Gracias para su trabajo.
Was that Beatrice? Okay. Beatrice from Jamaica Plain, our pianist, occasional pianist, comes to practice and tinkle our keys on our beautiful piano at Community Church. Well, there you have it. I see that Kathy Brown just showed her face, and was there something you wanted to say, Kathy Brown? Hello from.
Sorry. Thank you.
All right.
I really enjoyed this. It was great to see, great to learn more, and also great to see the foundation I haven't seen for quite some time. So awesome, awesome, awesome. So thank you.
I want to tell you about some more programs coming up. Regina Robinson in February. We used to be on the school committee, the Boston School Committee. She teaches at Cambridge College, and she will be talking about being a person of color on the school committee, and also about the challenge of COVID. I want to tell you about the music on the day that Margaret Kimberly is with us. The music is Sharon Katz and the Peace Train. Sharon Katz is from South Africa, did a tour with Nelson Mandela soon after he was freed. Sharon Katz and the Peace Train is our music. It's just like phenomenal, the things that Zoom offers you. The day that Amilcar Barreto is speaking about Puerto Rico and Puerto Rican independence. He's a professor at Northeastern, and the music is Solicanto with their daughter Alisa Amador. And we have also a phenomenal activist of long-time friendship with Community Church. His name is John Bach. He's from the Friends Meeting House in Cambridge. John Bach talking about his years of activism and time in prison for protesting the war in Vietnam. That kind of gives away his age. John Bach will be with us with music by Providence singer and songwriter and activist and fellow arrestee Joyce Katzberg. Lots of great things coming up at Community Church. And any ideas you might have about future programs where we feature either, well-known activist heroes or sheroes, or just Boston area people who are doing work on the ground. That's what we do, and that's who we like to feature at Community Church of Boston. Any ideas for any programs coming up? I am going to declare the meeting at the building to be over.
All right.
Deymirie Hernandez, we thank you for your example and your work and your cultural work for social change. Eroc and Op of the Foundation Movement, I want to thank you and thank everyone who joined us today at Community Church of Boston. You gotta have hope when every card seems lost. You gotta have hope when you're double-crossed. You gotta have hope when every flower is dead. You gotta have hope even if it's just a thread. You gotta have hope when every star burns out. You gotta have hope one raindrop breaks the drought. You gotta have hope if you still have one breath. You gotta have hope there's a way out yet. You gotta have hope when the rest lose faith. You gotta have hope when you meet Satan's gate. You gotta have hope when you're terrified and scared. You gotta have hope when it's even too much to bear. You gotta have hope through the unending night. You gotta have hope you'll see the faintest light. A whole lot of hope creates amazing things, the most sacred sunrise that you've ever seen. Family, we'll see you again soon. Meeting at the building, soon be over.
You, Kathy. Bye,
all
Dean.
over this world.
Bye.
All over this world, Lord, Lord. All over this world.
Okay.
At the building, soon be over. All over this world. And I'm just going to stay on to.
It's cold up here in Maine.
Email addresses of people who want to join our mailing list. Yes, I don't know even how to copy and save the chat, so I have to do it by hand. Hello, David and Judith.
Hello, Dean and everyone.
All right, and Dorothy, hello. And I think that's YH Pat. I think it's Virginia, but I'm not positive. And Alan from Maine, and Jim from New Hampshire, and Rudiger from Central Massachusetts, Charlie and Karen.
And Lenny from Maine.
And Lenny, hi Lenny. Lenny,
How are you doing?
Brunswick, Maine. Doing fine. All right. I think we got all of the email addresses from the chat. And we're going to say goodbye to everybody. And just a quick note that we have a finance fiscal meeting coming up second Sunday. Oh, no, it's the third Sunday in February. Look out for that. We also have a retreat coming up in March 13th, I believe. And we'll be talking about this building that we own downtown and the space use future of this building. What we're going to do with this beautiful 3 floors that we will have vacant because the theater offensive is moving out. And okay, that's the end. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Take good care. We're all done.